Have you ever felt like you're living a life that isn't really yours, always wearing a mask to please others, while your true self remains hidden? Nietzsche, Freud, and Carl Jung understood this deep conflict, the struggle between the social masks we wear to survive and the desire to be authentic. In this video, you will learn how to recognize your masks, understand why they exist, and, most importantly, how to balance them without losing touch with who you truly are. We will explore how Nietzsche proposed the liberation from social constraints, how Freud explained the influence of the superego, and, with Jung, how to walk the path of individuation, the encounter with your truest self. We all wear masks to survive the demands of the world. At work, we are the competent professional who cannot fail. At home, we take on the role of the exemplary child, parent, or ideal partner. Among friends, we might be the fun one, the confident one, the person who never shows weakness. These masks are necessary, even functional, but what happens when they begin to weigh us down? The problem arises when we spend so much time identifying with these roles that we become disconnected from our authentic selves. The emptiness doesn't come from a lack of success or people around us, but from a deep disconnection from ourselves. Nietzsche, Freud, and Jung offered ways to understand and overcome this conflict. Nietzsche was one of the first to question how society shapes our identities. He believed most of us live under the weight of imposed morality that dictates how we should act, what we should be, and how we should behave. The social masks we wear are often products of this morality. They are necessary to fit in, but at the same time they distance us from our true selves. Nietzsche criticized the herd morality, a morality that pushes us to conform. He believed that by blindly following these norms, we lose our individuality, becoming versions of a person others expect us to be. He challenges us with a simple but powerful phrase, "Become who you are." For Nietzsche, true freedom and authenticity arise when we consciously free ourselves from social expectations. This doesn't mean rejecting all masks, but wearing them with full awareness, knowing that they are not who we truly are. While Nietzsche challenges us to break free from external norms, Freud encourages us to look inward. He introduced the concept of the superego, a part of the human psyche that contains internalized norms and expectations, the ones that tell us what we should or shouldn't do. The superego doesn't come just from society, but from our education, culture, and personal experiences. It makes us feel guilty when we don't meet expectations, whether from society, family, or ourselves. The superego is the source of the internal conflict many of us face, because it battles against our deepest, most authentic desires, trying to control or suppress what we truly want. Freud taught us that this conflict is not just psychological, but deeply emotional and existential. The answer to deal with it lies in the negotiation between the id, our natural impulses, and the ego, our ability to deal with reality. The superego plays the role of a moderator, but when it becomes excessively dominant, it can leave us alienated from our true selves. The great challenge is to find balance, listening to both the superego and the authentic self. This balance is key to resolving the internal conflict that affects our emotional freedom and authenticity. Jung, a disciple of Freud, deepened the idea that the conflict between the authentic self and the social masks is central to our psyche. He introduced the concept of the persona, the mask we wear to interact with the world. Unlike Freud, who focused on repression and the conflict with the superego, Jung believed the persona wasn't inherently negative. It's a healthy and necessary adaptation to deal with social demands. However, the problem arises when we completely identify with the persona and disconnect from our essence. The persona is useful for interacting with others, but it shouldn't define who we are. The true journey of self-knowledge, according to Jung, is the process of individuation, where we seek to integrate all parts of ourselves, including our shadows and the masks we carry. This process requires confronting aspects of ourselves that we avoid, such as weaknesses, fears, traumas, and even our darkest desires. When we integrate these aspects, we achieve a balance between our authentic self and the masks we need to survive socially. Jung teaches us that self-knowledge is an ongoing journey where we must accept both our light and our shadow. By doing so, we can live in a more authentic and balanced way. Now, how can we apply the lessons of Nietzsche, Freud, and Jung in our daily lives? The key lies in continuous self-knowledge and the conscious practice of aligning our social masks with our authentic selves. The first step is to recognize the masks we wear. Ask yourself, what roles do you play in your day-to-day life? Are you the worker, the friend, the spouse, or the perfect child? Observe situations where you feel disconnected from yourself. These are the areas where your masks are most present. By becoming aware of these layers, you begin to understand which parts of you are hidden or suppressed. The next step is to accept these masks without judging them as negative. They exist for a reason. They help us navigate the world. However, they should not become a prison. By accepting them, we can reconnect with our authentic selves, also accepting our flaws and insecurities. The integration of the shadow, as Jung teaches us, is essential for living an authentic life. We cannot be entirely free if we are only with the beautiful part of ourselves. We must embrace our imperfections and by doing so achieve genuine emotional and psychological freedom. Daily practices, such as reflection and meditation, are powerful tools to cultivate authenticity. Daily reflection helps us identify moments when we are being true to ourselves and those when we are just playing a role. Ask yourself at the end of the day, how did I feel today? Or, what did I do today that brought me closer to my true self? Meditation helps us silence external pressures, allowing us to connect with our deeper essence without the interference of the persona or superego. Meditation teaches us to be present with our true essence, without needing to filter it. Additionally, it's important to remember that being authentic doesn't mean being rigid. As Nietzsche suggested, we can maintain our social masks but with awareness. Being authentic is negotiating between the true self and social roles, knowing when to act according to external expectations and when to be faithful to ourselves. This involves emotional flexibility, knowing when to be true to who we are and when to adapt our actions for the collective good or for survival in the social world. Finally, accepting that the journey to authenticity is ongoing is crucial. There is no end to this path, but rather a constant evolution. The key is to keep moving forward, allowing yourself to grow and learn from each experience. Transformation happens when we manage to be authentic, balancing the necessary masks with our true selves. By doing this, we begin to live with more purpose and meaning. The journey to an authentic life doesn't happen overnight, but with daily effort and practices of self-knowledge, we can integrate our masks and true selves, living more freely and genuinely. If you enjoyed this content and want to continue exploring the path to authenticity and self-knowledge, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos on how to live a truer and more meaningful life. Let's walk this journey together.